The NFL season is right around the corner, and we're getting you ready for week one right here on No Timeouts. That is Dan Wilkins, that is Tyler MacKillop, that is Zak McDonald, and my name is Jonah Birenbaum. And gentlemen, it's time to hand out some hardware. I want to know who you guys are picking to win the major individual awards in 2025, and we might as well start with the big one, the Mac Daddy MVP. Wilk, who you got?
I'm going real bold here. I'll take Patrick Mahomes.
Wow, not the boldest panelist in the game for nothing. T, who do you got?
The one people thought could have been a shot last year, Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow?
I'm going with Patty Mahomes, too.
Okay, so I want to key in on Joe Burrow because he led the NFL in passing yards and passing touchdowns last year, and he finished fourth in MVP voting. Why is he going to win it this year?
I think that last year, we're starting to see this too much. I don't like it, whether it's the Heisman Trophy or MVP. There's a lot of narrative discussion and sometimes less about numbers and the facts. Like we saw it last year. Lamar Jackson was ultimately probably more deserving of MVP, but it went to Josh Allen because Josh Allen has played so well in his career, but he had never won one, and it was close enough that we're going to give it to Josh Allen, give him his first of his career. I think we're kind of in a similar situation here with Joe Burrow. The numbers, like you mentioned, were good enough to win MVP in a lot of seasons. I think Burrow is still capable of putting those numbers up because I really don't believe the run game will be very successful, much like it was last year. So the passing volume, the weapons obviously are there, and I think if Burrow is up there with a Patrick Mahomes like the other guys are on, I think that we're going to lean towards giving that MVP to Joe Burrow purely based off narrative. And that is not usually the way I like to talk about football. I like to talk about it in facts and numbers and statistics. But I'm afraid that's kind of been happening to this award.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all agreed last year that Lamar Jackson objectively had the strongest MVP case, and it went to Josh Allen instead. But we'll see. Offensive Player of the Year. Wilk, who you got?
I'm taking Nico Collins.
Nico Collins. T?
I like Jonathan Taylor staying in the division.
You and the Colts, man. And you?
I like Jamar Chase.
Okay, that one makes a lot of sense to me. Taylor is obviously going to get crazy volume. I want to talk about Nico Collins because what if C.J. Stroud is the version of himself that he looked like last year? What's the path for Nico?
Oh, man, I just think he's in for a monster season. Probably a top 5 to 7 receiver in football right now for me, but however you want to rank him, he's an elite talent. He was thought by many people to be in for a huge breakout season last year. He did have a good season when he was on the field, but he ended up missing 5 games. And then, to your point, the offense and C.J. Stroud, everything was just a mess with what was going on under Bobby Slowick. I think they're going to be a lot better, a lot more cleaned up under the new offensive coordinator, Nick Caley. And I think you and I were talking about this earlier, kind of the state of their running back room. I feel like they're probably in a position where the passing game is going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting there. And that just means more opportunities for C.J. Stroud's clear number one target, Nico Collins. And at the same time, we're talking about a guy who over the last 2 years has led the league in yards per route run. All that really is standing in the way of him putting up some truly ridiculous numbers is some better injury luck. And all I can do is assume he's going to be on the field all year, and I think he's going to have a crazy season.
There's nobody in the NFL that has the combo he has of volume and big play.
Yeah.
He's the big play guy in the entire league. Like you talk about Jamar Chase, but I would take Nico Collins when it comes to making explosive plays downfield. And it's kind of whether or not, one of the rookies step up or if Christian Kirk is, the corpse of his former self. Otherwise, we're going to see like a 35% target rate for him.
Yeah.
Defensive Player of the Year. Wilk, who you got?
Who do I have? I have Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons. All right.
Got to play first.
T?
I like Nick Bosa. They got a really easy schedule. I think he'll feast.
Okay.
I think
Zach?
I think the Niners are going to have a really good year too.
Okay.
I got a bit of a weird one. I have Edgerrin Cooper from the Packers winning Defensive Player of the Year.
Edgerrin Cooper.
Yeah.
Okay. I do want to spotlight that one because obviously if Micah Parsons plays, the path to him winning is very clear. And Bosa, I mean, that's a bold pick considering he has tailed off. Yeah, exactly. Since he won one, he's definitely tailed off performance-wise. Edgerrin Cooper, tell me how, Zachy.
Well, in order for Edgerrin Cooper to win Defensive Player of the Year, obviously the Packers are going to need to have a really good season. And I think I'm in lockstep with Wilkie, where I think the Packers are going to have a really good year. Yeah. I think that second year in the system with Jeff Hafley, I'm a really big fan of him. I think schematically he creates advantages for people, and also he's really big on blitzing those linebackers and getting them involved in the pass rush. So you're kind of looking for Edgerrin Cooper to have one of those remember when Micah Parsons first came in the league and he was an off-ball linebacker? Obviously, it's really tough for an off-ball linebacker to win Defensive Player of the Year, but Micah Parsons had that kind of game where he was controlling the whole field by the middle of the field, and everything was getting funneled and cycled through him. And I think it's going to be the same thing for Edgerrin Cooper. I think they're going to try and push things in. I think they're going to use him on blitz. I think that he's going to have opportunities to, if he gets the ball in his hands, whether it's a fumble recovery or an interception, he's an incredibly dynamic athlete who can take things back to the house, who can make big plays. And I think he's going to enter the superstar club firmly this year. At the end of last year, there was a little buzz, people talking about him. Now this year, he is going to be a household name defender by the end of the season.
I'll tell you what, if he wins that award, the Packers are definitely contenders. Bring it back to an earlier segment. Okay, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Wilk, who you got?
Travion Henderson. He is just such a fun player, man. I know that there's probably some debate over his fantasy value just because of the fact that he's competing for touches in the backfield with Ramondre Stevenson. I don't know. I feel like he's just such an explosive player that maybe 2 games into the season, the Patriots are going to realize that you can't keep him off of the field. He's a big play machine as a runner, as a receiver out of the backfield. He's also such a good pass protector, which obviously MVP voters are never going to consider that when they're filing their not MVP voters, Offensive Rookie of the Year voters are never going to consider that when they're filing their ballots, but it's also going to help him get on the field way more than Ramondre Stevenson. Maybe Stevenson's cuts into his usage down around the goal line, cuts into his touchdown numbers, but I just don't think it's going to be long before the Patriots realize, assuming they haven't already, that there's really nothing that he can't do. So I think he's going to be on the field a lot. He's going to get a ton of touches as part of this offense in every way they can get him, and I think he's going to be a big part of their year 1 turnaround under Mike Vrabel.
Well, you totally preempted my question, which is how is a running back going to win this? Because we haven't seen a running back win this award since I think it was Saquon in 2018. That was a pretty strong case. T, who do you have for this award?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you where it comes to like Cam Ward's my answer when it comes to, I think the situation is a little better than people think. He's got the number 1 in Ridley. I think the offensive line could be in a pretty good place with some veterans they added. I think Ward, the chalk is, I guess, Ashton Genty, but I think the chalk shows out with Ward.
And no one on this panel chose Ashton Genty because you have
Jackson Dart.
Oh, my God.
The Dart Man.
The Dart Man cometh. How is that going to happen? How much is he going to play?
When's he going to play?
I think Russell Wilson's going to be done by like week. I don't think he's making it out of September. I think he's going to be done by like week 4. Is Russell Wilson's time as the quarterback. It's going to be milquetoast. It's going to be boring. He's going to be out of there. And Jackson Dart, he's just like, I am the vibes guy, and he's the vibes guy. He was eating the Jameis Winston W on the sidelines. He's got an extremely live arm. He's a dynamic player, and if he goes and it turns around the Giants, has Brian Daboll looking like a legitimate coach again, then the narratives that Tyler was talking about are going to be extremely prevalent for Jackson Dart.
But I think that milquetoast brand of quarterback that Russ has played, like they're going to be 2-3 after week 5. You know what I mean? Like he's not going to play poorly enough to get benched, I don't think.
But I think that's going to be so uninspiring for a team that's been so uninspiring for such a long time that they're going to be ready to show some action, ready to show some juice, and they're going to bring him in kind of the flip of Justin Fields and Russell Wilson last year. Whereas like Justin Fields was doing all right, but it's like this is just boring and stinky, so let's try the new thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Giants probably like the idea of Russell Wilson starting the whole season more than people realize. Now, that can obviously they have the hardest schedule in the NFL, right? So they're going to be out of it by November. So that could obviously change. I think Dart, given what he showed in the preseason, is probably going to play some down the stretch. I just think that they're going to stick with Russell Wilson for a lot longer than the fans want to see, just because the way that he can still push the ball downfield, that's going to open up something that was never possible under Tyler's boy Daniel Jones. So I think that they'll at least improve in that way, and that'll give Russell Wilson some runway.
I was going to say, they stuck with Daniel Jones for 7 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going to stick
What's
with
12
Russ
games for
throughout
Russ?
at least November. All right, last one, fellas. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Wilk, who you got?
Abdul Carter.
T?
Mike Green, Ravens, I think a big year.
Ooh,
Zachy?
Wow. I got Travis Hunter. And I'm also realizing that a lot of my current football takes are just colored by watching that Dallas Cowboys documentary that is, again, really awesome. And they had the scene, when they introduced Deion Sanders into that show and talked about the impact of a lockdown corner and showed him returning kicks and showed him returning interceptions for a touchdown, you really realize, like, it's to what Tyler says, like him playing over 100 snaps, you really realize that cornerbacks can make such a huge impact if they're excellent. Mid cornerbacks you're never going to notice them. When these guys are excellent, they're so excellent. And Travis Hunter obviously has the ball skills necessary to go out there and return touchdowns and get pick sixes. So it will have to be dynamic plays that he's making. But if they're putting him in on passing situations where the team is down, where they need to have a big play, where they know the ball is going to get thrown deep, Travis Hunter has the opportunity to make those big plays, and I think that's how he wins it.
I think that even goes back to Tyler's point about narrative too, right? Like that's a big part in these award races. And if Travis Hunter has 3, 4, 5 interceptions, I think that he becomes the runaway favorite just because there's going to be so much attention to what he's doing on both sides of the ball.
If they, I almost was going to ask the question, but it doesn't exist. Like, I wish there was like a MOP. You know, they do it in the CFL. He can't win MVP because it's a quarterback award basically, but. They're going to need, if he plays really well on both sides of the ball, it's going to be hard not to like honor that in some way.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, so Deion Sanders in 1996, when he was a regular on both sides of the ball, he did not finish as high in MVP voting as he did 2 years prior when he was just the defensive player of the year. So
that's really interesting.
Yeah. There you go. Can Travis Hunter play baseball?
Probably could.